Tim, guess what? It's Friday. It's 8 o'clock. It's no, it's not. It's What a Week That Was. And this week we have got quite a bit of stuff to get through. And hopefully in a week's time we'll do another What a Week That Was, assuming we don't croak it from the extreme weather we're about to get in the UK, i.e. incredibly hot weather, and incredibly wide area of said weather. So hopefully if we don't croak it, we'll be here this time next week. Anyway, we're here this time this week, and that is what we're going to be looking at, the weather. So there is a red weather warning, easy for me to say, and it is basically covering central England from London to York, across to Manchester and back down again, and then the whole of England, the whole of Wales, and quite a bit of Scotland is in the amber, which is not risk to life, but certainly very dangerous heat. And it just kind of proves that global warming is a thing. Now, I was alive in 1976. I remember the 1976 heat wave, and people were whinging and moaning about it then, and they're still whinging and moaning about it even now. And I thought it was fantastic, although I was that paranoid at the time that I used to keep my coat on. So I couldn't afford to lose any weight, but I think I lost about 3 stone in that. I only weighed 4 stone. It wasn't good. There are droughts though all over Europe and soon in the UK as well, which is really annoying, because if you think about it, there is a hell of a lot of rain that has fallen in the UK since last summer. I mean, last summer was basically a washout. The summer before was pretty good, but last summer, from when we all went back, when we went into lockdown actually, it just started to rain, and it's not really stopped other than like the last few weeks. Anyway, now it seems all the reservoirs are nearly empty, and there may well be hosepipe bans and stuff like that. Obviously, it's a lot worse in many parts of Europe due to the fact that they are in Europe, and it's always warmer there anyway because they are landlocked. So yeah, you've got to be we've got to be careful with the water. It says here on the label. What else has been going on? Well, as we spoke about last week, Boris has resigned as the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, which basically means they don't have a leader, but he's staying on as Prime Minister, because that's what Boris does, basically what he wants. And everyone else just has to go around him and see what's going on. So it's not great, but Monday we started off with 11 candidates. These are they. I know a few of them. I don't know all of them though, and I wouldn't care to say that I know all of them. By Tuesday, we'd gone down to 8. By Wednesday, we'd gone down to where are we? There we are. 6. And by Thursday, we'd gone down to 5. So one of those people is going to be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and that is worrying. Mainly because we don't necessarily know what they're going to do. And also one of them is Liz Truss, which is terrifying on multiple levels. The least of which is she doesn't know how to find a way out of a room. She is one of these people who makes Boris look intelligent. That she was famed or ridiculed a few years ago for doing a big speech about cheese and saying that a lot of the cheese that we eat in Britain, not me because I'm lactose sensitive, so I don't eat any cheese, but a lot of cheese that we eat in Britain has come from abroad, and that is disgraceful. It is a disgrace. And she was really angry about it. You can see with that picture there, because that was the picture of her at the time. The bit of cheese behind has been added for effect. Yeah, she was fuming about it. And that's the first time I'd ever heard of her. And I thought, who is this mad person? Now, she's in the top 3 of the number of votes that she's got from the MPs for the Conservative Party. She's in 3rd place. Now, she had a speech yesterday, a launch speech, and when she walked across to, she did one of them weird walks that we do occasionally. You know when you might be walking down a street or on a footpath or whatever, a sidewalk, and you're walking down and you know there's people behind you and you think they're watching me walk. So then you then start thinking about walking, and then you walk like a robot that's a bit broke because you're overthinking it. Well, she walks into this thing, and that's what she was walking like. She was walking like, I don't know, it was like a Thunderbird's puppet or something like that. She did this really weird walk. Then she gets up and does a really limp speech. I mean, she made Keir Starmer look like he got a charisma. And then when she left, she didn't leave the way she came in. She walked down in between everyone, which is not the way she came in, and then realised there was no door there, and then had to be guided out of this room, which was pretty small, with one door in it. Now, she can't find a way out of a room with one door in it. Do we? And she has this obsession with cheese. Do we really want her leading the country? Because I'm not sure we do. Anyway, that's rather... well, I won't say it's old news, but it could get interesting. We will find out on Sunday who the top 2 people are. Now, if we go back to this 5 people, the other 2 that are doing quite well are Rishi Sunak, who is the gentleman on the left of the picture, and the lady on the right, who initial is PM. And she wants to be PM, so her slogan is PM for PM, which is brilliant. This is what we've got to go with. I mean, I would have said Rishi all along, and then all of a sudden, all the tech stuff that came on, and you're like, yeah, maybe not then. What else has been going on? Well, I mean, we think things are bad here. In Sri Lanka, many government buildings, including the President's residence and the Prime Minister's residence, have been overrun by local Sri Lankans protesting about the cost of living, fuel prices, all the usual stuff that's happening all over the world, and demanding that the President resigns. The President fled the country. I don't know how, because unless he was saving fuel for his aeroplane, and has now resigned as President, but he's not in Sri Lanka anymore, he's somewhere else. And the Prime Minister has just been sworn in as President. So, again, don't know how that works. We also had some bad news as well regarding Ava White, this young girl here who was sadly murdered in Liverpool at the Christmas light switch on in November of last year, and a 15-year-old boy has been sentenced to a minimum of 15 years in prison for her murder, although he denies murder and says it was self-defence. But what a 15-year-old boy has got a knife for in the middle of a town centre whilst watching the Christmas switch lights on is beyond me. So I think should have got more, to be honest. Heathrow have been telling the airlines that they're going to cancel, or the airlines have to cancel many flights to reduce the people going through the airport to a minimum, or a maximum even, of 100,000 a day. Now that's still a lot of people. A lot of airlines are saying yeah, okay, and then other airlines like Emirates are saying nope, we're not doing that, so you'll just have to work around us. It's not just Heathrow that's got the problems, there's many other airports as well, including Manchester, and not Liverpool. So if you're flying, I think you're better off going to Liverpool. Whatever you do though, don't think you can go on a train. We've got more train strikes coming up. We've got the RMT who are doing some strikes. These are going to be on the 27th and the 30th of July. Now, one of those is RMT and the other one is another union that they do. And they're striking so that it's going to be not the same trains that are affected on the two different strike days. So I'm glad I don't use trains, I'll be honest with you, because that's just going to be an absolute nightmare. Another nightmare which is developing nicely, I use the term nicely loosely, is COVID. There is a new variant. It's not Omicron, it's a new variant. It's causing concern with WHO, and it is more transmissible and appears to be a lot more stronger if you catch it, even if you've been vaccinated, than the Omicron version that's currently going around. Hopefully, people who've had the Omicron version, that will boost their immune system so it won't affect us too much. But it does bring me back to what I was saying a long while ago, and that was, why are we repeatedly jabbing people's arms over here and in Europe and America when it's rampant in South Africa and other countries, and they haven't got any vaccines, and the more people who get it, the more chance you've got of getting a variant. And okay, the variants, we've been lucky, have been not as strong, but there's a strong possibility that the variants will be stronger as it develops, and we've just basically, if anything happens, we've put this on ourselves as the West by ignoring the poorer countries who can't afford the vaccine. It just kind of shows the greed of other countries, including ours as well. An interesting story that's kind of not interesting is there's been a Van Gogh self-portrait discovered, and it's been rather splendidly hidden in plain view. Behind the painting on the left is... Oh, you can't see it, can you? Hang on. Behind the painting on the left is that painting there, and that is a self-portrait. Now, many artists, including my mother, used canvases or boards or whatever they were painting on and painted over them because they couldn't afford to buy more equipment. So that could be something to look forward to in the future. However, I don't think they're going to take off the top picture for people to see the bottom picture. But if you watch programs like Fake a Fortune and that kind of thing, which I do because it's got Fiona Bruce in it, then you know that X-rays do show up some surprising things. Also sad news as well. Ivana Trump, the ex-wife of Donald Trump, has passed away. Mother of Ivanka Trump, and I think the two lads as well, although I'm not sure. She's passed away, as has someone I never heard of. You probably never heard of them either, but you know their work. It's this gentleman here, who is Monty Norman, and he's a composer, and he's done one of the most famous, one of the most famous tunes of all time that's featured in movies, countless movies, well, 22 up to this point, and that is of course the James Bond theme, the dum 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 dum. That one. He passed away this week as well, and also passing away, in fact only been announced very recently, is Paul Ryder, who is the brother of Sean Ryder and one of the founder members of hang on, there we go. One of the founder members of the Happy Mondays, amongst other bands as well. I'm not sure whether he was in Black Grape as well. I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on that one. But either way, sad loss, and Sean has said, you know, he's a genius and he will be sadly missed. And yeah, it's only young as well, only 54 I think he was. So not old at all, particularly in these days and ages. And then we've got a bit of kind of pointless news, which is this thing. This is the James Webb telescope, which has cost millions and millions of pounds, dollars, euros, to be sent into space to take pictures of the solar system better than we've ever had before. Okay, I'm pretty sure that if I rooted up in the attic, I would find an image that I got when I visited as a child the telescope at Jodrell Bank. Very similar to that. Very similar indeed. And what is the point? We've spent all this money looking at these things in space. I mean, anything we learn is going to be irrelevant anyway. These things are billions of light years away, so we can never ever ever get there. They can never ever get to us, if there is anyone there to get to us. So what is the point of it all? I'd be more impressed if they built a base on Mars, or even on the moon, and we kind of, you know, looked at our own little solar system. Or maybe, I don't know, you know, dig wells in Africa so that people are not drinking dirty water and dying from cholera and stuff like that. There are more important things, in my opinion, than looking at pictures of things that make no difference whatsoever to the daily lives of anyone in the UK or Europe, or in fact the world, now or in the future. It makes no difference. Complete and utter waste of money. I was talking about the heat wave earlier on. Network Rail have decided, in order to stop the tracks buckling, they're going to, they already have started doing, paint them white, because white reflects the heat, which is what I always say when I'm doing my driving videos. Why do people wear black t-shirts when it's hot? Wear a white t-shirt, because it's less likely to absorb the heat from the sun. So it kind of makes sense and then doesn't make any sense whatsoever at the same time. It just seems a thankless task. I mean, I could be proven wrong. It might be the best thing ever, but I'm not holding on much hope to for it to save anything. It just seems, I don't know, it just seems a bit lackluster. You know, too little too late kind of thing. We've had some sad news as well from Ukraine. This gentleman here, Paul, he went over to Ukraine on humanitarian business in order to try and rescue people caught up in the conflict, was arrested by Soviet allies and charged and accused of spying and being a mercenary. He's a very ill gentleman, or he was a very ill gentleman. Diabetes and various other health issues, and there's a possibility that he hasn't been treated for those issues and has sadly passed away. His family have been notified today, which is awful, and why he was accused of stuff like that when it was obvious that wasn't the case, again, is beyond me. And this week also another humanitarian, was it a war crime? Another civilian building has been destroyed by a Russian missile, this time in a western Ukraine city. Residential and shop complex destroyed, and many killed, and many more injured, many seriously as well. It's just, you just can't weigh it up, the horror that these people are going through at the moment in Ukraine. And I can see why people's hands are tied a little bit, but then I also don't understand why we're not doing more. It just seems strange, really strange what's going on and what's been allowed to go on as well. A heartwarming story. A young girl has become popular on TikTok for singing Metallica songs, or a Metallica song, and the Lars Ulrich has reached out to let her know that they owe him royalties. So it's like, yeah, well done, girl. You can pay us now the money for using my song. I mean, that just shows humanity at its best, doesn't it? I mean, most bands would be like, you go for it, girl, and next time we're in your country, we'll invite you to one of our concerts and get you on stage and you can sing your song. But oh no, not Metallica. No, we're going to do you for using our music without permission, which is tragic and brilliant at the same time. Now, one thing I meant to mention last week, and I never really got around to it, was the situation with Lurpak. Now, there's been many reports that Lurpak is selling for over £7 in various supermarkets. As you can see there, £7.25. And you're like, oh my god, that is disgusting. That's really, really bad. Well, yeah, but the normal tubs, the normal tubs, they're not normal tubs. They're like massive tubs. The normal tubs are selling for £2. So I don't understand why the news is making it out to be something massive. It's a 750 gram tub of margarine. It's almost the size of a tub of ice cream. So you can see there, that's the where are we? There we go. That's the big tubs. These are ones at the £7 odd, and then the little tubs up there, they're going for £2 odd. So yeah, it's another typical non-story in my opinion. We get a lot of them at the moment on the news, and it is slightly frustrating. But then, thank God for America, eh? We're now going to do This Week in America. Oh my word. It's very quiet in here today, isn't it? Is this thing actually working? Just check it's working. We're doing all this and nothing's happening. It'd be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, it's working. Just no one's around. They must all be watching the Tory BS going on Channel 4. Anyway, we've got American BS to get through, and quite a lot of it. So we're going to start, usually, actually no, we'll start at the top and work our way down. So our first story is, man in Florida climbs through Wendy's drive-through window and steals the cash drawer. So Wendy's in Florida, basically, I think I've mentioned Wendy's before, but it's a McDonald's type establishment. A man has gone into the cash area where the till is by leaning through the window, and they couldn't identify him because he had a straw hat on. Just to clarify, it wasn't me on one of my walk rounds. Then there is this. An Iowa beach is shut down because there is a brain-eating amoeba. Now, I don't even know what a brain-eating amoeba is, but apparently it's not a good thing. So they've shut down the park while now amoebas are one cell. I did go to Jodrell Bank when it was lockdown, and I wasn't allowed in because I hadn't booked in advance. Plus, you're not allowed to use your phones in there, because I want to do a walk around thing, but you're not allowed to use your phones because of the waves from the phone. So I thought, well, if I put it in airplane mode, can I still use the camera on it and go around? But they'd probably jump on me and then beat me to a pulp. Yeah, state officials conduct a test to determine if the lake is the source of the woman's infection. So they don't even know if it's her, but they're doing it anyway. Biden. Now, Trump was a president who just kept on giving. Bit like Boris was a prime minister who kept on giving. And if we get Truss, God, then she'd be a prime minister who keeps on giving as well. But in America, they've got Biden. Elon Musk blasts Biden latest teleprompter blunder, comparing it to Anchorman. Basically, Mr. Biden is unable to read stuff that's a long way away. Now, they can make the writing bigger, so I don't understand what the problem is. But it does seem to make quite a few blunders. And of all the people in the world to pick on you, Elon Musk is not one of the ones that you'd want. This is pretty disgusting. A doctor rips open an oozing 30-year-old breast implants in an alarming reveal. A cosmetic surgeon has revealed the stark difference in textures between today's gummy silicone breast implants and the saline type of years ago. Now, obviously, things are going to get better, and if you've had an implant and it was 30 years ago, surely by now you would have had it looked at, because there was a stage at one point where they were exploding in people, which wasn't very pleasant. Meanwhile, in California, a woman caught on video setting a man on fire. She allegedly doused a man in gasoline as he lay on the grass in a park in Sanger, California, and then set him on fire. Now, call me old-fashioned, but if someone pours petrol on me when I'm lying in the park, I wouldn't be lying in the park anymore. I'd be out of there before she could strike a match or anything else. But yeah, only in America? One hopes so. Alright, here we go. New coronavirus mutant raises concerns in India and beyond. So yeah, this is the new variant. India and South Africa as well, this was earlier on in the week, have reported cases of it. But that's the places where we've not been sending vaccines, so it's more prevalent, and the more people who have it, and the more repeat cases that people have of it, the more likely you're going to get variants, and the more likely eventually we're going to get one that's going to go around and kill everyone again. Eat the rich popsicles let New Yorkers take a bite out of Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So basically, they've designed these face ice cream lollies. Obviously, they're called popsicles in America. And they are of the rich people, and you can eat them. A few things about this. One is, I've no idea whom the top ones are meant to be, and I've got less of an idea who the bottom one's meant to be, so they don't look like the people. And the second one is, why? They call it Occupy Wall Street, but no, it's just American patheticness. Meanwhile, rockets falling from the sky might kill you soon, astronomers warn. Add rockets to the list of reasons to look both ways before crossing the street, or doing just about anything outdoors and under the cover of an untenable structure. So basically, we've had this before. If you remember, if you're old enough, you'll remember the Skylab coming down. Thankfully landed in the sea. Now, the chances of it landing on your head, anything coming from space, is very slim. Due to the fact that, particularly if it's metal and it's coming in at an angle, it will burn up on entry and therefore not actually make it to the surface. If it does make it to the surface, there won't be a lot of it, and the majority of the surface of the planet is water, so hopefully it would land in the water, and then the next majority of Earth is unoccupied land, and then you've got towns, cities, villages. So the chances of it actually happening are slim, but let's not spoil a good headline, eh? Let's not know. Now, last week we had a knife-wielding crab. This week we've got a crab who I think's been to Turkey and had some work done. A crab with human teeth shocks internet. Mother Nature did her best. The internet is freaking out over a crab with human teeth. Now, I'm pretty sure I've seen pictures of this crab before, and it's not a new crab. It's not like a brand new species or anything, but it has got a good set of gnashes on it. And fair play. If people get upset by a crab with gnashes on that they'll never see in real life, then maybe they need to adjust their life. Maybe they've not had their delivery of meth. Mexican men charged in monumental £5,000 meth bust in California. Now, this is one of them optical illusion things as well that they seem to be putting up. You know, how quickly can you spot the avocado in these pears, and how quickly can you count how many animals there are on this picture? Well, can you spot the dog? More than £5,000 of methamphetamine smuggled into the US from Mexico was seized in Southern California, authorities said. Well done, that doggy. That's what I say. Give it a pet and a pay rise. Give it a pat, not a pet. I don't think dogs like pets particularly. Maybe you could give it a friend, maybe. A wanted Florida man tries to escape deputies on a John Deere lawnmower. A Florida man who evaded cops in January by jumping into a swamp was finally caught while trying to escape on his lawnmower. His lawnmower. Does that mean he was at his house and he was mowing his lawn whilst being wanted by the police, and the police turned up, so he thought he'd do a runner? I'll go and say, yeah. It is scary to think that he thinks that that's a good thing, but maybe he was waiting for his meth delivery. Maybe that's what it was about. And anyway, or maybe he did it. Who knows? Here's another one. If you breathe this common way, you could be in danger, doctors warn. JT, that's the one. I keep looking at Davey and Rachel as well, obviously. If you breathe this common way, you could be in danger, doctor warns. Breathing doesn't have to be so complex. You can make it simple again with a few tricks and tips. I mean, how is breathing complicated? You do it, you live. You stop doing it, you die. I mean, it's literally not rocket science. But, yeah, in America, they're being told how to breathe. I mean, we've had don't give babies batteries and all this kind of stuff. And now they're saying, yeah, you need to learn how to breathe, Americans. I mean, it's like, what? Buried cash in home's yard adds to mystery of ex-owner's brothel. The New Jersey homeowner initially thought the wads of cash were weeds, but they ended up totaling over $1,000 in bills printed nearly 90 years ago. Apparently the house was a brothel. If you don't know what a brothel is, it's a house that, you know, around the corner where all them men go to and they come out with empty wallets. Now, statues are a bizarre thing. There's a lot of statues of people around Europe and in America where they are statues of great people who did great things for their country, town, village, city, whatever. But then it turns out that they did it. Must be a private brothel, but yeah. It turns out that they got the money from slave trade, or they got the money from other, what we now deem, rightly so, wrong sources. So a lot of statues have been taken down, students are protesting and all that kind of stuff. And my argument is, these people have been dead 200 years. We were the first country to stop slavery. What we need to do is educate people by putting another plaque on the plaque saying, you did this, did great for the town, city, village, whatever. However, it was on the back of slavery, which was common practice at the time, obviously now frowned upon, for rightly, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, in Albuquerque, they're going to honour the Breaking Bad meth makers with bronze statues. Now, these people are not real. These people were making drugs, and they are going to make bronze statues to honour them. I mean, only in America. It's I don't know. It's just, yeah, America gone bad. I was bullied for my big belly, but now I make 12,000k a month eating on camera. The so-called feederism model spoke out about her dream job, saying the money came pouring in after she first busted out on social media last year. The main guy literally let a woman choke her on and say, yeah, but she's a hero, and he's a hero in Albuquerque. So yeah, this woman has decided to come out and say, I was bullied, but look at me, I'm doing really well now. I'm making loads of money because of my weight, and I get the last laugh. She might do, but I don't think that's a healthy lifestyle, and I think maybe she probably would get more views if she went on a diet and did one of them transform video things. And they're putting a statue of it. Yes, they're putting a statue up of Breaking Bad. It's America. Come on, keep up. Slap Oscars nominated for a 2022 Emmy. The slap that Will Smith gave Chris Rock has been nominated for an Emmy. I mean, Christ, talk about barrel scraping. Maybe there'll be a statue. Maybe that will be a statue in Hollywood at some point in the future. Again, it's, I'm going to say only in America, but you know, people like that all over the world. And then we've got this woman. I have a scar on my forehead from eating my stubborn twin in the womb. What the flip? No one can get in your head quite like a sibling. A woman's clip detailing her suicidal currency boasts over 5.1 million views on TikTok. So this woman claims that she, from what I can read, ate her twin in the womb, and she's got a lump on her forehead because of it. I mean, what? Paroled robbery suspect holds up California store at gunpoint. And there's a video as well. A brazen California gunman, already on parole, robbed a cell phone store outside Los Angeles, police said. So he was on parole for being a gun kind of person, and he's got into a shop with a gun whilst on parole and held it up at gunpoint, and the video's gone viral. I mean, you know, surely there's got to be some standards somewhere, hasn't there? Whatever you do, never pick up money. I picked up $1 on the ground and then I nearly died. My body went completely numb. I could barely talk. I could barely breathe, she said of the harrowing ordeal. Now, dollars in America are paper. They're not plastic, and they're not metal. So it's... I don't quite know how she got... nearly died from it. I mean, maybe she fell over and banged her head. Maybe it was in the middle of the road and she got hit by a bus. No one knows. Thankfully, she's okay. So, but yeah, never pick up money in the street, particularly if it's not worth a lot. Back to guns again. A 10-year-old Florida kid, who's named, because it's America, who was perp walked for school, for a school shooting threat, pleads not guilty. The 10-year-old boy, who was perp walked by Florida Sheriff's Office after an alleged school shooting threat, pleaded not guilty in court. So they put a 10-year-old in court and accused him of basically saying he's going to do a mass shooting in the school, and they've walked him out of the school in handcuffs, like he's like one of the most dangerous people in the world. I mean, I really don't get America. I really don't get it. And then this happens. I flew across the country to meet a date, and he ditched me while I was napping. The date was a huge lesson learnt. I'm like, really? Have they? And it's like, I don't think so. It's just very, very, very strange what is going on. And I don't necessarily know why you would do anything like that. Sorry, I was just reported it as well. This is what I've had of them. I think that means I'm getting popular when the spam bots find you. I mean, I've only got 3 people watching, but you know, it's a sign of success when they come on your channel and just spam you with stuff. Yeah, so she flew across the country to this guy who she'd met, and while she's napping, which means possibly after an event had occurred, he left. I mean, who'd have thought? Who'd have thought that would have happened? I mean, I suppose she could have been worse. She could have flown to Africa with like $15,000 to give to someone. But there you go. Where shall we go? Huh. What's next? Oh, hang on. Got my screens all messed up. Right. This one is bonkers. I mean, this is, again, mum busted for selling newborn baby to pay for $3,600 nose job. Now, a newborn baby for $3,600 for a new nose job. I think she went to a really bad plastic surgeon because your nose isn't on the side of your head. So I don't understand quite what that means. A ruthless Russian woman has reportedly been arrested for selling a newborn baby to pay for £360,000. No, $3,600 of rhinoplasty. Maybe they're putting a rhino horn on her head. Maybe they're telling her that's the new nose job. But yeah, I mean, it's sick and unbelievably stupid at the same time. This next story, though, is interesting. 2 pig heart transplants succeed in brain-dead recipients. Surgeons in a New York university have successfully transplanted genetically engineered pig hearts into 2 brain-dead people, researchers said on Tuesday. Yeah. The nose does look bent and not with a baby, but you've got to bear in mind that the bandage is on the side of her head, nowhere near her nose. That's maybe why she wanted a nose job. Moving a step closer to long-term goal for using pig parts to address the shortage of human organs for transplant. And I've never even thought about this before, but people, sadly, become brain dead for numerous reasons, and the machines are switched off. Sometimes the organs are used for transplants and that kind of thing, you know, liver, kidneys, eyes, that kind of thing, which is great. But if they could be used for stuff like this, obviously with the family's consent, to do experiments of things that you can't do on humans because, you know, you would kill them, then surely, I mean, if I was brain dead, I wouldn't have a problem with people doing stuff to my body if it helped medical science for people in future. I mean, I'm not into organ donation, which is obviously completely makes no sense, but medical step forwards like this, it just seems the obvious thing to do, and I've never understood why we've never done it before. I mean, you heard of grave robbers back in the day, who, you know, Burke and Hare and all them kind of people who went around digging up bodies and selling them to local doctors and surgeons so they could experiment and look at the human anatomy and all that kind of stuff in order to help their patients. But we've now got to the stage where we can have live bodies where you could do maybe lung transplants, or, you know, put hearts in that are mechanical and things like that, and just see how they develop, and other, you know, maybe intestines and things like that. I don't know how that would work, but it just seems that it's never been done before, but it just seems, oh, not that I'm aware of anyway, but it just seems a decent idea. And it means that the families of these people who are in such a tragic situation can get some benefit of knowing that they've helped possibly generations to come with their donation. I don't know why I don't like, yeah, I mean, we get to the age now where I'm getting things through the post reminding me that I need to do, you know, I need to get myself life insurance and sort my funeral out and crematorium and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know what happens when you die, because no one does. But I kind of want to be complete when I die. But I don't want to be burnt. But will I, you know, if I live for another 30 years, will anyone be buried? It's just a weird thing, isn't it? I don't think about it a lot, just when I'm watching daytime TV and the bloody adverts come on all the time. Anyway, but no, I think the pig heart thing in brain dead people is a good idea. My plan is just to be thrown in the river Dougie with 2 hoodies on, obviously. Now, if you're doing selfies, I do a lot of selfies, mainly video selfies, obviously, vlogs and my travel videos and that kind of thing. But I've not been to a volcano yet, and if I did go to a volcano, I would watch where I was walking and not fall into Mount Vesuvius's volcano. A Maryland clout seeker had to be rescued after falling into Mount Vesuvius while taking a selfie from a restricted area. I mean, I would say only in America, but obviously it's in Italy. But yeah, and he's got some pretty horrendous burns. But I mean, yeah, lucky to be alive. Not many people fall in a volcano and get out of it again. I'm pretty sure at the time it wasn't actually overly active. But still, yeah, watch where you're standing. Mind you, back to guns again in America. A Florida homeowner is accused. Bloody hell, I've always wanted to look inside a volcano. He's lucky. He's very lucky. He's American. They're born lucky, aren't they? Because they're American. Florida homeowner accused of waving gun during parking spat with landscaper. So many different things in this one. Florida prosecutors are mulling charges against a homeowner who pulled out a rifle during a parking dispute with a landscaper. So he's not fired the gun. He's not done anything with the gun. He's just waved it around. Now, I would have thought that was a common thing in America. And you wouldn't even bat an eyelid. I would imagine the landscaper would get his gun out as well and wave his gun around. But apparently, oh no, you're not allowed to do that. Texas man found with over 11 pounds of fentanyl inside a car battery, say the police. Police discovered over 11 pounds of fentanyl inside the car battery of a Texas man's SUV following a routine traffic stop. I think they should probably check his cheeks as well, because he looks like a hamster. I reckon he's probably got another 20 pounds in each cheek. But yeah, put it in a car battery. Can you imagine? If you use that kind of stuff and it's got battery acid all over it, I mean, it's dangerous enough as it is. A woman was scolded by cashier for going through a drive-through backwards. The woman has a right-hand drive car. Now, this is in America, where they are left-hand drive. So, in America, when we go round a drive-through, generally it's clockwise. In America, it's anti-clockwise because the driver's on the other side of the car, so you want to be near where the cashier is. So they do them anti-clockwise, we do them clockwise. Now, she's got a right-handed car. Why have you got a right-handed car in America? But she drove backwards round it, so she was in the right place, but the car was in reverse. The woman has a right-hand drive car, meaning she felt she had to drive through backwards to line up with the pickup window. I mean, that is epic. Yeah, just open the passenger window. That would be a normal person's response to this. But no, she reversed round. Now, I know people in the banger racing community, obviously, and many times they've been coming home from a race meeting and it's been late at night and they've got to McDonald's and the drive-through only is open and they've driven round. They've took the banger off the back of the truck because the truck can't go round, and they've driven round in a banger, which is basically a bashed up car with no windows, no interior, no lights, no nothing, and they've driven round the McDonald's or whatever and got their order that way. But yeah, she got shouted at, and rightly so. Meanwhile, in America, patients have turned to pricey blood washing to treat long COVID. Again, what? Desperate to have their lives back, exhausted long COVID patients are turning to an expensive last resort therapy to cure the mystery illness. So basically, what blood washing allegedly does is the plasma, which is the bit that holds the red and white blood cells, which is the liquid, is separated from the blood cells and then filtered, whatever, and then re-added again. And it's used for some ailments, but I mean, what? Would I go through the risk of having my entire blood possibly contaminated for the sake of not being as tired? Yeah, you can have your blood cleaned. I mean, if you think about it, that's basically what happens if you're on dialysis. But this takes it to another level. Oh, we got a beautiful woman. What's she up to? Married Lies said he was a widower to sleep with me, so I told his wife. Hundreds of people on TikTok were unimpressed with the man's attempt of infidelity. Basically, this young lady was told by a gentleman that he was a widower, his wife was dead, so that they could have some happy time together. And it turns out that his wife was far from dead. That wasn't divorced, and she found out, and she basically told the wife of what he'd done, which I think is fair enough. Let's be honest. Now, remember the money that was found before? Well, hell, a New Jersey man discovers $2,000 of cash from 1934 from under his porch. A New Jersey man discovered a lot of cash under the porch of his Wildwood home. So what is it with Americans? Maybe that was another brothel as well. Americans 100 years ago or thereabouts, sticking money, hiding money everywhere. It's, I mean, in Britain we just stuck it under the mattress, and then Ken Dodd got done for it, as did Lester Pickett as well, thinking about it. A speeding Florida vice mayor apologises for cursing at a cop during a traffic stop. Find something better to effing do, the Florida vice mayor told cops after getting pulled over. So he's the deputy mayor of a Florida area, and he was stopped for whatever reason, and he told the cops who he employs to go away. I mean, it's, do you know who I am? Do you not know who I am? Kind of job, innit? What's he called? Not Perkins. Pritchard. Not Pritchard. What's he called? You know what I mean. Do you not know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Yeah. So yeah, I think that's his career over, isn't it? And probably his driving as well. I'm a plus-size teacher, and my students beg me not to eat them. This is news. And another one of Sue Styles' kindergarten students declared, I can sit on you, but you can't sit on me. Now, I wouldn't mind, but from that picture, she doesn't actually look that big. But is this news? Apparently in America it is. I'm wondering sometimes if the New York Post is the equivalent of the... not the Daily Star, what's that other one? The Sunday Sport. Because some of the stuff they come up with, ridiculous. Please don't eat me. Oklahoma man allegedly killed friend while fishing because they thought the victim would feed him to Bigfoot. Now let me go through that again. An Oklahoma man allegedly killed his friend while they were fishing because he thought his friend would feed him to Bigfoot. Now, the number of things that are wrong with this, well, probably the worst thing is going fishing. A confrontation ensued, and Sanders told authorities he struck and strangled his friend, whose body was found the next day in the river, because he thought he was going to feed him to Bigfoot. I mean, mythical creatures? You might as well said, I thought he was going to feed me to Jesus Christ or something, because that's as equally as unlikely, even if it was 2,000 years ago. Valid excuse, I'd say. Thank you, JT, for your input there. I've probably heard worse. We'll probably do worse at some point, but yeah. Florida school tells kids women are people with a vulva in sex ed lesson. A development research school in Gainesville, Florida, told children that their body parts do not necessarily determine their gender, but then mentioned that women are people with a vulva. It's sex education nowadays. When I was at school, there was no internet, no nothing, so we didn't know about sex, we didn't know about porn, we didn't know anything about anything like that. Nowadays, I appreciate the world is different, but I've got a 4-year-old grandson, and if someone comes up and says stuff like that, that would be ridiculous. He's got a 2-year-old sister, so one imagines they've had the, willy, not willy conversation, and that's as much as they need to know. All this other stuff, absolute nonsense. It's always warm in here, and it's very warm in here tonight. And my throat is drying up. I'm also sweating like a pig as well. Right, where are we up to? Oh yes, here we go. A woman was charged twice for eating too much at an all-you-can-eat buffet. A waiter's rude behaviour at an all-you-can-eat buffet was too much for one patron's stomach. So basically, this woman was charged twice at an all-you-can-eat buffet. I've never had an all-you-eat buffet. I don't like buffets. I hate buffets. I've always hated buffets. The thought of other people picking up a chicken drumstick and then putting it back down again because they've changed their mind, and then me picking up and eating it. People coughing on stuff, people sneezing on stuff, kids with dirty hands because they haven't washed their hands when they've been to the toilet. The food being left out in a warm room for 5 hours before you can eat it. I just hate buffets. So an all-you-can-eat buffet is like hell for me. But this poor woman, she went and she had to pay twice because she ate too much. I wonder if she works in a school. Yeah, anyway. Can you imagine going to the toilet and finding an uninvited iguana in a toilet? A Florida woman was surprised by an uninvited iguana in her toilet. I mean, would you invite an iguana into your toilet? And would you ever not be surprised of finding an iguana in your toilet? Rondon, who I assume is Rent-A-Kill in America, said that he has removed several iguanas from South Florida properties this year already. I imagine he's killed lots of rats and maybe got rid of a few alligators as well, because that's his job. But yeah, she was surprised because it was uninvited. I mean, for a start, I don't think iguanas have a concept of being invited or not. Never mind anything else. Oh, another gaffe from Biden, the president who keeps on giving. Biden says we must honour the Holocaust. No. We must honour the victims of the Holocaust. There's a massive difference. Could have been worse, though. He could have said it, maybe somewhere. Oh, he did. He said it in Israel, in front of the president of Israel. I mean, bring back Trump. Well, maybe not, but yeah, it's scary. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, that in a lot of countries there are massive amounts of droughts, water shortages, impending restrictions on water and stuff like that, including in the UK. Meanwhile, in America, Virginia has flooded. Flood victims searched through ruins of their homes in Western Virginia, hoping to salvage anything not damaged in Tuesday's flooding. It looks like a war zone. Global warming, remember, doesn't exist because Donald Trump said so. But people are dying from this. We've got floods in Australia, Sydney, you remember, last week I think it was. We've got floods in America, we've got floods in Bangladesh, we've got floods in China, we've got floods in India, we've got droughts in pretty much the rest of the world. Things are very, very, very screwed up at the moment, and we need to do something about it. And I still believe if the United Kingdom completely stopped using electricity, completely stopped using gas, we found some miracle thing, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. We need the big countries like America and China to sort themselves out and to save the world, and we also need Brazil to stop chopping down the rainforests as well. What else have we got? And then we've got, now this is a sad story, but I like the heart behind it. This young lad, 11 years old, has passed away. A Florida family begins fundraiser to send ashes of space-loving 11-year-old son to the moon. I just know he would have a grin from ear to ear and would never go away because he would get to do something that he always wanted to do. And I think that's a really nice thing. I know some ashes have been sent to the moon in the past, and I think some rich person, Elon Musk or whatever, get involved and get this young lad's ashes to the moon. If he was into space and stuff like that, then I think that's just a fabulous thing to do. Obviously, if it was me and I'd been buried, that wouldn't work. And I wouldn't want my ashes on the moon anyway. But I think if that's what he wanted, absolutely fair play. Unlike this, cheating mother shoves mum rival off feet to win a race at her daughter's school. So it's a parents' race. Thankfully, I'm past all that now. It's grandparents, so I'm let my daughter do the parents' races. She redefined pushing others to succeed in an educational setting. Now, viral footage captures the appalling moment a cheating mother shoved her rival mum to the ground to win a competition at her daughter's school. I mean, you'd be so proud of your mum, wouldn't you? It's like that advert on the telly for, I don't know what it's for. Oh, it's for Vitality, I think it is. And the woman is imagining winning the parents' race and her son going, "That's my mum," dead proud. But she's practicing on one of these running things you have in your house, and she's all sweaty and everything, and he comes in with his mate and he goes, "Oh, that's me mum." Very unimpressed. Well, that'd be the same thing, wouldn't it? Unless it's America. Maybe the daughter thinks her mum's fantastic, and maybe that's how she'll behave for the rest of her life. Anyway, that's it for America. Yodelly-ay, yodelly-o, yodelly-ay, yodelly-o, yodelly-ay-o, in a merry doodly-doodly-doodly-doodly-doodly-doodly. So let's have a recap, shall we? Because we're still going. In Britain, we are looking for a new Tory leader. We started with 11 candidates on Monday, and we're now down to 5. Very disappointingly, one of them is... where are we going? One of them is Liz Truss, who I don't trust. She was a woman who did a speech, insane ranting about importing cheese a few years ago, and she's still in the government, and she's coming third at the moment. She did a speech, very boring speech, after a rather awkward walk. She's a very awkward person. I mean, you want someone who's confident to be the leader of the country, because they've got to, if things settle down with Vladimir Putin, whatever, if she's Prime Minister, she's got to go over there and look them in the eye and say, look, this is what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Same with China, same with China and Japan and all the other countries around the world. I mean, we would be a laughingstock if she was Prime Minister. She did this speech, and then she couldn't find her way out of the room. There was one door into the room, and she couldn't find it, and she had to be helped by one of her helpers. The President of Sri Lanka has resigned after protests took over various buildings, including his presidential palace. The murder of a 12-year-old schoolgirl in Liverpool. The 15-year-old boy has been found guilty of murder and has been sentenced to a minimum of 15 years, which I think is ridiculous. Should be considerably more than that. The Space Telescope has gone up and has taken pictures. It is the James Webb Telescope. It's massive. It's cost millions and millions of dollars, pounds and euros to get up there, and it's taking pictures of stuff that we've basically seen before, but just in HD. That money could have been spent better on Earth to actually help the people on the planet, rather than looking at stuff that's never going to affect us. There's going to be huge trouble in transports in this summer, including Heathrow limiting the number of people who they're letting into the airport. We've also got strikes as well in the rail industry, and possibly issues from other strikes that are due. India and South Africa have got a new variant of COVID, which could be a risk to the rest of the world, because we've let them not get away with it, but let them have COVID unmonitored. Wrong way. Picture has been found, a self-portrait that Van Gogh has done underneath another picture, and people are excited about it, but it's not really that important. It was up in Scotland, which is probably important. It's probably a big thing in Scotland. Who knows? They might be able to use that for independence, so that get people coming and visiting. We've seen the floods already, but these droughts around Europe, empty reservoirs, rivers running dry, lakes running dry as well, and Britain is about to have the worst, hottest weather it's ever had, including red warning for temperatures in central England, and amber over the rest of the country. A few sad passings. Ivana Trump, former wife of Donald, has passed away recently, as has this gentleman who was famous for writing the theme tune of James Bond, arranged by the composer that everyone thought had written it, but it was actually him who wrote it. A British guy from Warrington has sadly passed away whilst in captivity in Ukraine, held by Russian sympathisers. Possibly wasn't treated correctly, and there's been another war crime as Russia have attacked a residential and shop complex in western Ukraine. Because of the heat, British Rail British Rail, God, how old am I? Network Rail are painting some of their railway tracks white to deflect the heat. And finally, Paul Ryder, brother of Sean Ryder and founder of the Happy Mondays, has passed away after a short illness. Today it's been announced, and that basically is what a week that was. So this coming week we have got shocking weather to come, so hopefully if we're still here next week we'll find out what a week that was. But we won't know who the new Prime Minister is going to be, but we know it's going to be one of two people. Big shout out to Angela O'Kane, Gridrunner's Shack, that's where I got the thing from, JT and Rachel. Pretty quiet in the chat room today, but your views are appreciated. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to clip as well, and share them on social media, and I'm going to try and make this one into a podcast, so wish me luck on that one. Anyway, that's it for now, so thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are, and all being well I will see you again next week to see what a week that was. Until then, bye.